Senator John Cornyn is weighing in on Venezuela and if similar fraud issues happening in Minnesota could also be happening in Texas. I'm Kayla Hamlet reporting, and here's more in Connecting to Congress. Venezuela has been in the spotlight recently after U.S. forces captured Venezuela's president, Nicolas Maduro, on criminal charges. When asked whether the U.S. should continue allowing Venezuela to send oil to Cuba, Senator Cornyn says the answer is no, pointing to concerns about Venezuela's leadership.
No, I don't. I believe Venezuela, of course, operating under an indicted criminal, President Maduro, was basically propping up Cuba by providing them access to Venezuelan oil. But it didn't stop there. Obviously, Maduro was also the head of a cartel responsible for exporting tons of drugs, primarily cocaine, into the United States and causing untold human misery.
And beyond questions of leadership, Cornyn also praised the hard work behind the operation, pointing to U.S. military and law enforcement efforts.
I'm very proud of our U.S. military that supported the law enforcement operation to arrest this individual who'd been under indictment for years. But it took President Trump and somebody willing to with the courage to step up and actually act on it. But what we were reminded of is the incredible performance of and the professionalism of the U.S. military, which is second to none.
We also looked at an issue closer to home. Texas Governor Greg Abbott is reviewing state programs to make sure similar problems aren't happening here. After a major fraud case in Minnesota where millions meant for child care were misused, Senator Cornyn called the Minnesota case unacceptable.
Well, after we've seen the incredible amount of fraud and just outright theft in Minnesota, which has caused the governor to decide not to run for re-election.
Senator Cornyn shared why he says the Minnesota fraud case is so troubling, calling it a clear example of people taking advantage of programs meant to help others.
Ripping off the taxpayer by people who are enriching themselves is unacceptable, and we need to get to the bottom of it.
He adds that with so much federal money sent to states and local programs during and after COVID, there's a risk of more cases just like this.
There's been so much money, particularly during COVID and post-COVID, thrown at the states and local governments and non-governmental organizations by the Biden administration that I'm afraid there's going to be a lot of bad stories before the news starts to get better. But I do support Governor Abbott's efforts to try to see what, if any, needs to be addressed in Texas.
Senator Cornyn says he supports Governor Abbott reviewing the issue as it's in an effort to support taxpayer dollars.